Welcome back to another video on Planet Doug. Directly ahead of me, you see the entrance to the Army Museum in Port Dickson. I just finished recording a video of my bike ride to get here. If you want to see what the bike ride was like, go back and watch the video before this one. But this video is going to be all about visiting this Army Museum. As I said in the previous video, I came here on Wednesday and it turned out there was a special event. They said the king was visiting, so the museum was closed to the public. So all I did was ride here and then ride all the way back again. But I wanted to check the place out, so here I am a second time. And it looks to be open. And last time I was here, there were soldiers guarding the gate. But there's nobody here now. Oh, parking is that way. So I guess this isn't the entrance. I thought this was the main entrance, but apparently not. Maybe I can go in this way. Let's, here are the official hours for anyone that might want to visit this place. Wednesday to Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. But it's closed Monday and Tuesday. And that is very important to know, so you don't come all the way out here for no reason, as I did. Man, a big place. Look at that. Museum TENTERA DARAT. And one appealing thing about this museum, you can see it all around me, is that it has a lot of older military equipment on the outside, you know, that you can see, like this one directly in front of me. And I'm sure there's a sign that will tell me exactly what it is. And over here, yeah, a lot of field artillery pieces. I'm sure I'll be back out here taking a closer look at them. Yeah. This sort of equipment is on my mind a lot recently, of course, because of world events. Had the war between Russia and Ukraine ongoing for a while. So you see a lot of videos on YouTube of all the military hardware being used. And now, of course, right now we've got the ongoing fighting in Israel and the Gaza Strip. So you see a lot more news stories and YouTube videos about all the advanced weaponry that they're using. Hello. Oh. Oh. Hello. How are you?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, hello.
I park bicycle at auditorium.
Over there?
Over there.
Okay.
And you can walk in.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna walk my bicycle there and then lock it and come back.
Out. Let's go. Park your bicycle.
Okay. Oh, parking lot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. I say not surprisingly, I do that all the time. You know, the gate that I went through, I guess, is not meant for the public to go through. But sure looks like it was. The opening hours, the gate was open, just wide enough for a bicycle. But that soldier came over to tell me that once again, I'm a dummy and I came in the wrong way. I often go in the back entrance for some reason. I have a knack for doing that. power of the bicycle. Heavy as it is, I can still pick it up and carry it down the steps. Bicycle is all locked up, and I've switched my GoPro over to a hand grip. It's kind of cool. They've got a bomber or some kind of a plane up there, and they have speakers playing some audio, the sound of the engines. But I think you go up to see that plane when you go inside the museum grounds. So first, yeah, you have to register here. I made sure to bring my passport today, just in case they require it, since this is all run by the military. Always a good idea to think ahead. Oh, look at that. Another plane. So this is the way you're supposed to come in. Here's the sign. Yeah, maybe I'll take a look at the equipment out here before I go in. Got Canon, of course. And some artillery pieces there. I don't know anything about them. I don't think I've seen anything quite like these. They look like spindly little characters sitting on top of tripods. Oh yeah, there's some signs down here. Oh yeah, anti-aircraft. 25mm Japanese anti-aircraft. It was found in Penang. Ah, so the Japanese left that behind. Yeah, it looks like anti-aircraft, doesn't it? Even the end of the barrels, for some reason, makes me think anti-aircraft. I wonder how old this one is. Field gun. Type 36 gun used by the Imperial Japanese Army, manufactured in 1905 and used in the First World War and the Second World War. Yeah, field gun, they call it. But yeah, an older piece. Actually has that kind of look to it, doesn't it? The big wagon wheels. What do they call this beast? A light reconnaissance car, MK2. This was used by the British Army during the emergency years, 1948 to 1960. Someone who knows a lot about military gear would have a field day here. They'd probably know all about the type of, the barrel diameter, the types of shells, bullets, all these things can fire. And the woman at the entrance said, follow the yellow footsteps and the yellow arrows, and that will take you through all the exhibits, and you'll see everything if you just follow them. Yeah, this place is quite large. I think you need some time and some energy in your legs to see it all and to appreciate it all. Not like the Lukut Museum, which was much smaller. Yeah, what's the story behind this guy? History of trains in the military. It's too bright. I can't read any of that. It's just too much in this bright sun. But yeah, it makes sense that the military would use all forms of transportation, including trains in some way or another. But look at that. It's funny, you see a locomotive from a distance, and you know instinctively it's big, but like most things, you don't realize quite how big it is until you get close to it. Man, oh man, that is huge. Can't imagine the weight of it. And I guess they would have military units like this that can run on rails. And I think this is the official entrance right here. I'm inside the museum, as you can see. This is the entrance, sort of the lobby area. A lot of photographs on the wall. And then the main thing you see when you step in, of course, is this guy over here. Bright red eyes. I think a lot of kids would instantly make a beeline for this character. A futuristic robot warrior, Terminator. This is the first room that you enter. A couple of pieces of military hardware here, and then a bunch of information on the wall. But yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate surprise for me. None of it is in English. All the reviews I read about this museum said pretty much positive things about it, but nobody mentioned that all of these displays were only in Malay. There's so far anyway, there isn't anything in English. I know a fair bit about the history of Malaysia, so I can actually just sort of scan the dates and the names, and I know what they're talking about. But of course, it would be nice to get more detailed information if it was in English. Spent a few minutes wandering around this next room, and it's basically a display of all different types of guns, all kinds of weaponry, and yeah, they're all on display there in these glass cases. They don't give a lot of context though. There's no real information about any of these guns really, the history of them. It's more like a collection of stuff that they had. The signs do mention some of the time periods they come from, but beyond that, it's really just a collection of guns. But it's kind of interesting because I know so many of the names, right? We all know these names from movies and TV shows, and I kind of know what each one is supposed to look like. So when I see the name and then I match it with the gun, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what that looks like. You know, like a Thompson submachine gun, an M1 Garand, a Vickers, all these names, you know, that I know from pop culture, basically. And it's kind of fun to see them all in real life. So that was Gallery 1 down on the main floor. And then you follow the yellow footprints and they take you up the stairs to the second floor. And here you've got a view of the courtyard. I guess the museum is made up of several different buildings. Yeah, I see a sign over there for gallery number 8. So there are at least 8 galleries here, maybe more. It looks like a gallery 2 up on the second floor is all about the Malacca Sultanate area. So let's see what's going on inside here. I haven't read through the signs here, but I'm glad to see that the They're both in Malay and in English, so it probably talks about the history of Malacca as it relates to the military. And they have a really nice model of a ship here from that era. They did something quite clever with mirrors, which I didn't notice at first. Well, you can't really see it on this side as well, but that whole back wall is a mirror, and it provides the illusion that this ship is much larger than it actually is. This is actually the wall right here, and I didn't realize it. I thought the ship went on for quite a long distance. So far, this is my favorite display at the museum. It actually shows all the tools that were used for loading shot and like powder and then cannonballs into a cannon. It's kind of cool. They have a cannon down here that's cut open so you can see the inside, and where you have a bag of powder and then a cannonball, and then it shows the interior of the cannon. And then over there, the various tools: a brush to clean out the bore, gunpowder loader, a gunpowder rammer. I guess once you put the gunpowder in, you gotta ram it in place, and a cannonball rammer, and then a cannonball hook, which I guess if you put a cannonball in and then you want to take it out again, well, you need a hook to do that. So I guess that's what that's for. Yeah, I like that display. And this part of the gallery talks about the time when Malacca was controlled by the Portuguese, and all the Malay resistance to the Portuguese, and then the arrival of the Dutch. And of course the Dutch eventually defeated the Portuguese along with the Sultanate of Johor. The Dutch worked together with Johor to defeat the Portuguese at Malacca, and then the Dutch, as part of the deal, I guess they took over Malacca. But yeah, this is all about the Portuguese and then the Dutch who followed after them. And if you follow the yellow feet, they take you down the hallway and lead you to gallery number 3, the British era, which for some reason is in room number 5. So you have to keep that straight in your head. It's gallery 3, but room number 5. So this is the British era gallery, nicely air conditioned, which is nice. And we have the sound effects of a battle, horses and cannon, though I've already walked through the whole gallery and there are no actual horses and no pictures of horses that I've been able to see, but you do have them keeping you company with a clip-clopping in the background. You see a lot of the examples of the clothing, the hairstyles, the fashions of the time. And then on the right side, there's a list of all of the major historical events during the British era. Getting closer to the horses and the cannon and the gunfire. And horseshoes here, I suppose. These are meant to be horseshoes. just stepped outside of that museum building. That was building number 1. Had a whole bunch of different galleries in there. The last one that I entered, I think, was all about the actual formation, like the starting point for the modern Malay military, the Malaysian Armed Forces. But once you step outside though, wow. Yeah, at least they're nicely air conditioned. The heat out here is kind of overwhelming. And an interesting setting for this. We've got some of the young cadets, soldiers marching past. Like I said, I'm wilting under the heat, just wandering around lazily as a tourist. So I can only imagine how these guys are feeling it. Here's some modern equipment, more modern. I've been busy following the yellow footprints. The yellow footprints are definitely my favorite part of this museum. I love things that are well organized. And without these footprints, I'd have no idea where to go, but they lead you perfectly from gallery to gallery in exactly the right direction to go, you know, so that you don't miss anything. But I just came through some galleries dedicated to the post-independence era as the military started to grow, then a big gallery just here on the communist insurgency, of course, the emergency, which is a big part of the history of Malaysia. And down below me is there's a recreation of a tunnel that the communist forces would build underground. So that's kind of the highlight of this museum. I'll be going down into the tunnel shortly, and my yellow footprints are taking me in this direction to gallery number 7, which is the Army Today. So we'll see what they have to say for themselves in modern times. Yeah, that's funny. No food and drink, but instead of nasi lemak, they've got burger and fries and Coke. Fast food. This is the example of food you're not allowed to bring in. Yeah, and all these, the recent galleries that I've gone through, there hasn't been any information in English, so I haven't really been able to get oriented. Though again, I kind of know the basic outline of the history, you know, the emergency. I visited all the museums in Kuala Lumpur at one time or another. But it would be nice if there was information here in English, but you can see all these ones. There's no English here either. And the signs on this side are all in Malay. I guess these are examples of some of the modern equipment that they use. Yeah, all military gear like this has advanced unbelievably in the last couple of decades. So. And this looks like the history of the uniforms. Right up until something that allows you to hide in the jungle. And riot gear. I think that was the last official gallery of the museum, all about the modern army and its contributions to society today. And then I think the museum tour, the yellow footprints end here at the communist tunnel. It says here on the sign, this 142 meter long man-made tunnel begins at B block and ends at 2 exits. The tunnel is equipped with a ventilation system, which can also provide an emergency exit. Oh, I see. So this is a lot about, for modern visitors. It's actually a pretty extensive tunnel. It looks like much longer and more complicated than I realized. But if anyone's nervous about going down there, they're telling you that they have CCTV cameras and emergency exits, so you're not going to get trapped down there. So this is the entrance to the Communist Party Malaya Tunnel. Yeah, if this is an example of what the tunnels really were like, they were actually pretty spacious. Very high ceiling and fairly wide. Yeah, a display of all of the items that they would have needed to survive in the jungle. Because they would have been kind of guerrilla fighters, of course, living in the mountains and in the jungle.
您对我的信任，我不会令你失望的。我要体验它，听懂？好。不过，你们要加点小心，因为我们的军队曾经被他们打败过。
Well, I did say that the yellow footprints is my favorite part of this museum, but now they're my second favorite part. This tunnel is definitely my favorite part of the museum. Of course, I like all the equipment that's outside, all of the military trucks and armored vehicles and helicopters and airplanes, things like that, and all the guns and artillery pieces. That's all very interesting. But this tunnel gives you a real sense of atmosphere. And I find that the information displayed on all these signs, that are on the sides of the tunnel walls are really quite well organized. The main museum itself, I don't think I learned a whole lot. I often judge a museum based on how I feel when I'm leaving it. Like if I leave from a museum, do I feel more intelligent than when I went in? Has the museum made me feel smart? But the main parts of this museum, the galleries, didn't really make me feel that way. I'm not sure that I really learned anything until I got here. And this tunnel actually gives a very succinct and good summary of the the emergency era, the communist insurgency and the fight against them. And has a lot of atmosphere down here, of course, because you're in the tunnel. Yeah, this is very, very interesting. The highlight of the museum for sure. And I made it to the end, so they don't have to send a search party to come looking for me in the tunnels. And this is where it comes out. Oh yeah, this is right above the parking lot. This is the plane that I saw when I was locking up my bike. And the other one right there, and a little cafe right here. That's very handy. I definitely wouldn't mind a drink of some kind. And look who's here, the fish in the fish pond. They all came rushing over because they thought I would have something for them to eat. But I don't have anything for you guys. I don't know if there's fish food available. I haven't seen any. It looks like there's a park back here. This is really nice, actually. The museum got pretty hot in places, especially when you're outside. And back here, it's all nicely shaded. Feels much cooler. Oh yeah, look at these ones all coming. They heard and saw me. But yeah, sorry dudes, I don't have any food for you. Oh yeah, I read about this. They actually have a little bit of a canopy walkway up there. See that? Huh. I was sort of assuming it would be closed. A lot of these sorts of things end up being closed in the places that I visit, but this one appears to be open still, so let's go for a walk. The way it's designed, you have to watch your head. That is quite low. A little bit wobbly. And here's the last section. It's actually a little bit awkward, a little bit dangerous, because the way the bridge is built, it's hanging from these cables. So this is sort of a suspension bridge, and that cable is actually so low. It's like right at, yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but it's right, it's like not even at hip level, it's below my hip. And if you happen to go off balance, and if you're tall, Yeah, you're going right over the edge of this thing. So I would definitely be careful walking along here. And don't sway from side to side. Yeah, you could just flip right over the edge of this thing if you're tall. If you're shorter, I think you're okay. That's not going to be an issue. But yeah, that's quite low in spots. You could really just hit it with the side of your legs and you lose your balance and flip right over. Oh, no, that wasn't the last section. This is it here. Continues on over here. Whoa. Yeah, this is a bit better. You can see this is much higher. There's no real risk of falling out of this one, but you really could fall out of that other one. I was surprised. All right, I think we've reached the end of the museum tour just about. I'm gonna see if that place is open, if I can get a cold drink. With my luck, it won't be open, but we'll see. It is a Friday, so we're getting into the weekend. Now, this was interesting. A lot of the fish were gathered around the fountains, almost like they were drinking the water coming out of that fountain. And they were also gathered around that one and at the base of that waterfall. But now they went rushing over there because those kids have some food for them. So I guess they do sell fish food here somewhere. Well, I don't know how the exposure is for this. I have my camera sitting on a table very far away because it's not a GoPro, it doesn't have that wide field of view. So I just have to set it up here and hope that I'm in the picture. I got a bottle of water and a can of Coke from this little shop here. Luckily there was, at first I thought it was empty, but there was a woman sitting inside way at the back, so I was able to buy a cold drink. I'm gonna have the Coke first while it's still as cold as possible. Oh, so well, yeah, that's the end of my museum tour. All that's left now is to hop on the bike and pedal away. I noticed when I was coming out here on my bike that a lot of the beaches that I passed were a lot busier than I've ever seen them before, because it is a Friday today. So a lot of people are already showing up. And yeah, it might be a good weekend for people to come here for the beach, because it is a scorcher. Yeah, I enjoyed that walk through the museum, but I have to say, physically it's challenging, just because of the heat going from gallery to gallery. It's air conditioned inside most of the galleries, but you're outside a lot of the time too, and I am just drenched with sweat and feeling a little bit done in, I have to say. Wow. And for a museum on the whole, it's a bit difficult to give it a Planet Doug score, but maybe I'd give it, I'm a pretty harsh marker when it comes to these sorts of things. I'd probably give it a C, B-, something like that. I mean, you can give it a high score because, you know, the museum is completely free. It's, you know, there's no entrance fee. It's, you know, very, very large, you know, a lot of galleries, a lot of information, all the military equipment out on display. I really enjoy that. The tunnel, the Communist Party tunnel underground, that was the highlight for me. And then they have this park area in the back with the fish ponds and the canopy walkway. You know, you put all of that together, yeah, you know, it rises to a B or B-. But for me, you know, my experience as a visitor, I don't feel like I got a lot out of it. I don't know anything about the Malaysian military exactly. I sort of thought I would come away and I could say, I learned these 5 things about the armed forces of Malaysia, but I didn't actually. Maybe I could have, but everything was not, there was nothing really in English. And even if there was a lot of information in English, I don't think it was organized in a way that I would come away with a better understanding of the, you know, the military, the armed forces in Malaysia. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't feel smarter now than I did, you know, before I came here. And I think for me, it felt a little bit mixed up in terms of what the museum was trying to do. Maybe that has something to do with my expectations, because I was expecting to come here with to learn about the Malaysian armed forces in particular. And they kind of did that, but there were a lot of galleries about, you know, Malaysian history in general, you know, with Malacca and the Portuguese and the Dutch. And they did focus on the fighting that occurred, you know, between the Malays and the Portuguese and the Dutch, and the weaponry that was used at that time. But I guess I didn't come to this museum to learn about that, because I've been to museums where they talk in depth about Malacca, and I'm probably going to go to Malacca after this. So sometimes the displays here in the galleries felt a little bit scattered in terms of what they were about. And it feels like they could have a lot of displays geared toward modern youth, perhaps. You know, like if you have a museum about the armed forces, it feels like they could have a sort of an Instagram spot, or like many Instagram places where kids could put on a military uniform, you know, a soldier's helmet, or hold on to some of the weapons, mock-ups, of course, not real guns, but, you know, mock-up weapons that the soldiers would use, you know, and they could have just, you know, where you could pose for pictures with items on display in the museum, things like that. But it's not really that kind of a museum. So I could see a lot of areas where they could improve things, make them a lot more interactive. But again, it is a free museum, so you have to take that into account. And I think the heat had a lot to do with my enjoyment of the museum, or whatever lack of enjoyment I experienced might have a lot to do with the extreme heat today. Yeah, I'm wiped out, and I haven't been here that long. And that brings my visit to the museum to a close. There's all the buildings around me. I didn't even realize it until now, but they've got, the two buildings are called Block A and Block B. So this is Block A behind me and Block B over there. And then there's the cafeteria and the, you know, the jungle canopy walkway in that direction. And then they have this fountain display here. So yeah, it's Block B and Block A, and the galleries are split between them. And then the tunnel. The tour, if you follow the yellow feet take you through this building first, all the galleries, then take you to that building through all the galleries, then out the other side of and then into the tunnel. And then you go, the tunnel goes underneath this square and then comes out over there by the canopy. So the place as a whole is very well organized. I really, as I said, I love these yellow feet. Just follow the feet. You don't have to think about where to go next. You just follow them. They'll take you to all the galleries, into the tunnel. Then at the end of the tunnel, you end up at the cafeteria and that park in the back with all the fish ponds. So yeah, really nicely laid out. Quite impressed from that point of view. Whew. Yeah, there it is, the Army Museum. And as I said, it's there's no charge for entry, so it is free to come in here. So yeah, recommend it if you're in Port Dickson and you need something to do. Probably good for kids. They get to run around quite a bit in there. Just be on a hot summer day like today, just be prepared for the heat. That's my #1 recommendation. Come as early as possible, though it doesn't open until 10 in the morning anyway, so you don't have much choice in that matter. You're going to be here during the heat of the day. So that's it, shutting down, and see you in the next video.